Hello everybody, my name's Trey. Whatever the name of this is going to be, I'll have a little title for it right here, hopefully, unless I'm lazy. This is just going to be basically me telling you guys about a movie I've watched, summarizing it, giving my opinions, and just basically giving you the overall feel of the video or movie from my take, and how I tell these stories, and how they could be better. To kick off this particular series or whatever, this particular video, we're going to talk about the movie Haunt. It was made in 2013 or 2014, it's either one. Recently it's been published on Netflix as well as a couple other online movie streaming sites, and I'm sure Redbox has also had it at one point or another. It starts off pretty normal. It gives you a little setup for yourself. It has a family in a house, kind of weird. Mom's dead. She couldn't handle the pressure of being mom, so she was like, fuck it, I'm out. Second, kids start dying apparently. The kids are dead. Movie establishes this within the first 5 minutes. Oh, mom killed herself and kids are dead. Good job. There is a dad. The dad is left. The dad's sitting here with a box. The box, I have no idea where it came from. I missed that part. I don't think it was ever really explained in the movie. But it's like, oh, I'm gonna talk to my kids or something. So he turns it on and it starts making a bunch of noise and everything. It's a bunch of static noise and he starts hearing this creepy like piano, like wire music stuff going on. And he's like, oh, it's creepy music, right? But is someone there? Hello, I'm speaking to ghost. All of a sudden, kids start talking to him. Kids are like, Daddy! Or, you know, however ghosts talk. They're like, Daddy! What are you gonna get? And he's like, oh, guys, I miss you, you're dead, and stuff. All of a sudden, kids start saying, oh no, she's coming, she's coming. Now, I was thinking, Mommy's home. Mommy's been home. Mommy's dead. So, Mommy's a ghost too. Makes sense, right? Nope, apparently something else is there. Dad's like, who's coming? Immediately gets strangled. Just starts choking. He's like, ugh. I hurt my back doing that. Demon thing, whatever the spooky ghost is choking Dad from behind and then drops him on the floor. He's sitting there on the floor and he looks like he's all demon possessed. He's got black eyes and he's like, I'm a demon. But instead of like being a demon and going and doing stuff, he just dies because whatever's killing him is making him do that. Fast forward a couple years, a new family moves into the house. New family is like a mom, a dad, an older sister, younger, like blonde sister who's like maybe 10, and this one dude. Now, no offense to the dude or the actor, but his name is Sixhead, because he had a forehead, but his forehead kind of like stacked up there. It was a little bigger. Sixhead, that's the way I'm going to refer to him because that's all I got. I don't remember his character's name or anything. Sixhead looks around the house and he's like, I like this room up here. Opens a closet door and boom, bunch of paintings of the old kids who are dead. Freaks him out a little bit. Older sister's kind of like, dude, that's kind of weird. And he's like, I don't care, I'm taking this room. Sits in the top room, sets his bed up and everything like that. He's like, all right, this is pretty cool. This is not too bad. I'm gonna go for a walk. So he's walking in the snow. And while he's out walking in the snow, he sees a girl. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, he's like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, nothing, you know, I'm just an emo kid out here in the snow. Well, they talk for a little bit, something about the girl not having a good home life. I don't know. Dad's like a freaking jerk or something like that. And she's like, I don't like my dad, so I'm out here crying in the snow. He's like, oh, that's cool. That's such cool, but don't do that. So they end up talking for a little while longer. Fast forward later in that night, everybody's going to sleep. They're sleeping in bed, and the movie focuses in on Sixhead, and he's sitting there in bed, laying down, asleep, of course, like you do when you sit in bed and sleep while sitting. He wakes up slowly, and he's like, man, I'm uncomfortable. I wonder what woke me up, or at least that's what his face said. He rolls over, and as soon as he rolls over, there's the girl from the woods earlier that day, and it's like, okay, freeze frame, mildly attractive girl, yeah, in my bed. So far it's so good, but here's another kicker. She rolls over, and he's like, oh, hey. And she's like, hey, I used to like break in and sneak in this house all the time back before people moved here, so I decided to come over, but I found your room, so I decided to lay down with you. I hope that didn't freak you out. Freeze again. Her question. That doesn't freak you out, does it? And his response, good old Sixhead, nah, it's cool. Okay, anybody else would freak the fuck out. That's a little bit of a plot hole right there. You can't just like wake up, turn over, just roll over and see someone in your bed that wasn't there a minute ago and be like, hey. No, I would be freaking out. I'd be silent screaming. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, freaked out! Anybody else would probably just scream out loud. Just, they're laying in bed apparently, and he's talking to her, and she's like, oh, I ran away from home or something, or it's bad at my house, so fuck that, I came over here. He's like, oh, that's cool. Well, I'm tired. And then they fall asleep. No big deal. Next morning comes. Kids go downstairs. Mom, dad, little sister, big sister, and now Sixhead comes walking down the stairs with emo girl. And mom walks up and he's like, oh, I didn't know you were having friends. And there's a small conversation that goes on between the family where it's like, oh, like, ooh, who is she? Like, oh, what happened? How did she get here? Again, pause. They are way too calm about this. Any mom that I know, any dad that I know, if you found your kid with a stranger that you don't know, whether it's a boy, whether it's a girl, whether anything, you wake up with somebody in the house that you didn't previously have in the house, you ask a lot of questions and you get to the bottom of it. But instead, family's like, oh, we'll talk about it later, or we'll deal with this later. They seem a little on edge, but at the same time, way too calm about it. Way too unrealistic. They never come back to it. That's another thing. They never come back to it. They're just like, boys will be boys, kids will be kids. No, any teenager watching this film is probably, at this point, is probably like, oh my god, who are these parents and how do I sign up? Because you can't just let your kids do that and then just be totally okay with it without some ramifications coming up. Haven't you heard of teenage pregnancy? Huh. Fast forward a little bit more. Mind blanks a little bit. Not so weird stuff goes on, but eventually they get around to it. Emo girl tells Sixhead, she's like, oh, this house is like spooky because some spooky stuff went on. Apparently a family died here, and then there was a pediatrician to take care of the family and the baby, but she was terrible at her job and everybody died and one thing or another, and then she left. Well, keeps going towards the movie, and they end up going into his room at one point. And something happens, and this little tiny trapdoor, like, crawl space opens up in his room. Stop it. How do you get a room and not know there's a creepy little crawl space in your room when you're setting it up? Like, if it's completely empty, there's nothing blocking it. Where the fuck would you even look to, like... Well, how could you not see it, is the point. They go into this little room. Emo girl's kind of like, there's a spooky device in here that can contact the spirits. So they're like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. Maybe we can find out what happened. They start trying to talk to the spirits. Nothing's really going on. Spirit box is lighting up and it's just like, static. Ask like some of the names of the people that are ghosts, and they do a couple other things, and nothing really happens. Although the boy gets up, and Sixhead's like, "I'm gonna leave, I guess." He goes to leave out of the room, and all of a sudden he hears somebody say something like, "Wait," or "Come back," or I don't know, some kind of ghost noise. Like, oh, that was kind of weird, and Emo girl heard it, so I don't know what that could have been. He's like, maybe it was just, our imagination. Maybe we just wanted it to spook us so bad that it spooked us. Emo girl is kind of like, or maybe it was ghost. Can't you just say it was maybe ghost? And he's like, maybe, but maybe we're just so crazy and stuff. And nothing else really happens. Fast forward a little bit. They keep talking, they keep hanging out, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really goes on. A couple more creepy things start to happen where like he starts hearing voices. At one point or another, the younger sister, the 10-year-old like blonde girl, starts acting kind of funny. Like she might have the downs or might be a little like, I don't know, antisocial. Which isn't a good sign, but not necessarily a bad sign either. Next thing that I remember is Sixhead's walking through the house and he's like heard some weird noises and he's trying to still like not think about the ghost's experience, but at the same time he's still doing it. And then he sees water all throughout the room. Just water everywhere. And he walks and follows the water to his little sister's room. 10-year-old blonde girl. She's talking to her doll. And she's like, talking to my friend. I was like, okay, that's normal 10-year-old stuff. Talking to dolls as if they were your best friend. That's cool. Doesn't explain the water. He doesn't ask about the water. He doesn't even get close to asking her about what her friend's name is. He doesn't get close to asking about where the water came from. There's a lot of water. I'm pointing that out. A lot of water. So he ends up being like, okay, whatever. And he goes to leave. And then as he's leaving, the door kind of creaks shut. And then boom, jump scare. Pretty good jump scare, by the way, because it was pretty misleading. Forward a little bit further, and they finally have some other spooky stuff happen. I don't know, they're like, let's get to the bottom of this. I need to find out what happened to this family. Something happened, something spooky's going on. Somebody killed somebody. So they go and they try to contact the spirits again. This time, when they contact the spirits, whoever she is, the ghost mom or whatever, comes barging in and she's like, I'm gonna scare you. So some crazy spooky stuff goes down. Sixhead's like, I don't know what's going on. And Emo girl's kind of like, I think I'm just gonna leave because this is not fun anymore. This is too spooky. She goes to run out of the house. Sixhead's coming up behind her, but all of a sudden he stops and he turns around. He's like, it can't be that spooky, can it? It's like you got a ghost screaming at you from down the hall. The ghost is coming for you. He starts having little flashbacks, little like wavy memories. He's like, whoa. Looks right down the hallway and he's like, I could have died if I stayed in that room. but let me look back at it instead of getting the fuck out of the house like he should have like 10 seconds ago with Emo Girl. Sixhead's standing upstairs, looking out the hallway. Emo Girl's already by the door. She's like, I'm getting out of here. Starts walking out into the yard. She's already outside. She's like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get away from here. Pause. Parents, nowhere to be found. Parents are like, we're going to do something and we'll be back later. Parents, not coming back anytime soon. Apparently they're on a vacation or they're gone for a few days. I don't remember, something about that. And Sixhead looks back and all of a sudden, Ghost Lady's there. Ghost Lady comes up and starts strangling the hell out of him like she did with Dad in the beginning of the video. Starts kicking and screaming and like, but he can't scream because he's choking, but he's kicking and waving his arms and he's crashing into some stuff. And anyway, Emo Girl comes in. It's kind of like, hello? Typical scary movie scene. Goes in the house, it's dead quiet. Pause. Why is it this quiet in the movie when he is supposed to be flailing and screaming and choking to death upstairs? Like, how can you be making so much ruckus and be dead silent just down one flight of stairs, especially when you're like right at the top of the stairs? Makes no sense. Slowly walks up the stairs. Sixhead's upstairs. Now he's totally possessed. He basically got strangled to death, and by getting him off that way, he turned into a demon. He stands up, he walks over, and she looks at him. Emo Girl's like, what's going on, buddy? Clearly, black eyes, veins popping out of his neck, obviously possessed. Pretty sure, at this point, my mind blanks out a little bit, but I'm pretty sure the Ghost Lady possesses Sixhead. Sixhead goes walking toward the window and he's like, I'm just gonna jump out this window. But it's only like 2 stories, so it's not like he's gonna die unless he like pile drives his head on top of a rock or breaks his neck or something. So, I mean, he could survive, especially if there's snow piled on the ground. It's still kind of a cushion, so I don't know. He goes to go try to jump out this window, and Emo Girl's like, no, what are you doing? Don't do it. And then she like grabs him and pulls him off. But as soon as she grabs him and pulls him off, he turns around and starts choking her. And she's like, don't choke me. That's not cool. And at this point, I'm kind of like, you might deserve this. So far. You pressured the ghost thing. You brought it up. You've been breaking into this house. You kind of deserve a little payback for some of this trouble that you're causing, even though you're not aware of it. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, that's kind of bad. He's possessed, and he's got a big forehead, and he's choking her to death. I don't know what she's gonna do. Somehow, she manages to knock over a lamp, or they knock over a lamp. She manages to find the lamp and smack him in the face with it. She smacks him in the eye with a light bulb, and then gets up and is like, I'm out of here, dude. Peace out. And runs. Sixhead wakes up the next day. He's like, oh, I wonder what happened. What kind of party did I go to? Because he's got a black eye. He's sweaty, not okay. So he tries calling Emo Girl like a handful of times. Don't remember them exchanging numbers. Calls her anyway. She doesn't want to pick up. He's not getting anywhere, so he walks to her house. He walks all the way, I don't know how many miles it is, like 4 miles maybe. Walks to her house and is like, hey, I need to talk to you. But Emo Girl's dad answers, and Emo Girl's dad's like, who are you? And why do you want to see my daughter? He's like, I'm her boyfriend. He's like, yeah, right. Well, you can leave your name and number at the beep of the message, and slams the door on her. That's much more realistic dad. Parenting realism is on the bad side of the family, but then you try to make a good realistic family and it doesn't work. You can't make realistic good families like that. Apparently, Emo Girl hears Sixhead trying to like come talk to her and everything, and instead of being mad like she was by not answering his phone or anything, she's like, just walks outside and is just like, oh hey, what's going on? How's it going? And just like nothing happened. Start talking a little bit and she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. I don't really remember what happened, but obviously I did something bad because I feel like I did something bad. And she's like, yeah, you tried to choke me to death. So I smashed you in the face with a lamp. And he's like, oh, that explains it. Okay. They keep going. They talk a little bit, and then they're frustrated because they're both saying the same thing. They're both like, they both say, oh, well, we need to finish this one way or another. We need to solve this. We need to finally get this done. Well, Emo Girl says that first, and then Sixhead's over here like, yeah, we got to finish this. We got to find a way to banish those spirits. Obviously, something's different. My hair's different. My clothes are different. So it's been a little while. When I was editing this video, I found out that my camera lost the last couple of minutes of footage, and I've been very busy and haven't been able to get around to re-recording this ending part of it. But I'm back again, now with some slight budgeting, better organization and stuff, so let's see how this goes. As far as I remember from what I was talking about last time, Sixhead's like, no, I'm gonna be a hero now. We need to go back, we need to like get the spirits out of the house. So they go back to the house. At some point or another, they collect all the things from the previous family. They take pictures, the picture frames that they found in his room, a bunch of other junk and shit, and they throw it into a fire, burn it all to death. Okay. Parents are gone, still. Nobody else is in the house. Ghost already tried to kill them once. Six Head's been possessed once. And you want to stay in this house and do a bunch of shit. Well, next thing that happens is, as my memory serves, they mess around with the ghost detector, they talk to some spooky ghosts, and then suddenly, Emo Girl gets possessed. Now that Emo Girl's possessed, Six Head has no idea what to do. He starts trying to talk to her, but he's also talking to like the ghost at the same time. He kind of realizes it kind of doesn't. He's trying to like bring her back. And he gets locked out of a room at some point, or locked in his room at some point, and it's just him and Emo Girl, who's now possessed by the evil ghost lady. Family's actually on their way home now, thankfully. So the family comes home finally, but right as they come home, Emo Girl, possessed Emo Girl, and Six Head have this argument, and she says something like, "Oh, we're not gonna finish this your way, we're gonna do something else." And takes a hammer and smashes his head in. Smash. Literally beats his head in. All 6 foreheads beaten in with a hammer. Pretty brutal scene in this particular movie. I actually liked it. It was very raw feeling. It was like everything else seemed kind of cheesy and kind of like not as committed. Like even when he's strangling her, he's not like, you know, really giving it to her. But this seemed pretty brutal. This seemed pretty, I'm gonna smash you in the head with a hammer kind of thing. So they end up smashing his head with a hammer. Emo Girl's still possessed and starts walking towards the like spirit box room that they were messing around in beforehand. Family gets home right as he gets killed. Perfect timing, right? Family goes upstairs, they beat on the door, finally they break the door down that he was locked in, and they see, oh, he's dead. His face is smashed in. She gets dragged out by Six Head's dad after clawing at the floorboards, and I think they just throw her into a police car and they send her on her way. I don't remember if they actually said anything or made hints as to if she was going to a psychotic ward or if she was actually going to prison because she killed him. The family's all sad. The house is crazy. Our son's dead. His emo girlfriend killed him. Which, isn't that how the story always goes? The camera finally zooms out, or it goes back to where she was clawing at the floorboards, and find out there's a dead body under the floor. Probably of Ghost Lady. More than likely, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Ghost Lady's dead body was under the floorboard. That's why she was haunting the place so much. And I'm pretty sure Ghost Lady is also the mom who killed herself. So, I don't know. The movie wraps itself up by just doing a fade out of the dead body in the floorboards, going out of the house and being like, oh, the family is left on their own with a dead kid now and 2 blonde daughters who don't know what they're gonna do. And that's it. I don't know. Movie's kind of weird, kind of good, kind of bad. I know I was questioning a bunch of things, but that's mostly because half of my attention from that movie is now gone at this point in time. It's been at least a month since I've actually sat down and watched that movie, so 3 out of 5 skulls. But I like even numbers. Let's give it 3.5 out of 6 skulls. So, if you want to watch a movie, if you want to watch something interesting, I would say give it a look. Like I said, this is just my interpretation and what I remember, so it's not 100% accurate. Feel free to watch it yourself, get a good look at it. Tell me if you like the movie. If you don't, if you have anything to say, just leave it in the comments. I am open to other suggestions for movies that you want me to watch or review or anything like this. And until next time, keep spooking with the spookies. Out.